Good evening, fuckers, and welcome to the 12th Train Simulator Classic request video. This one is, it's another that JimJimPlays has requested. He wasn't particularly specific about what he wanted, but one area where he was is he wanted to see a class 158 sprinter demu. So I mean, I've got no shortage of options when it comes to the 158. This isn't even all of them, but considering where we are going to be travelling, it does really need to be this one, the Transport for Wales, and it's got to be a 2-car. Some of the stations that we will be going through are so small that a 2-car only just fits. So yeah, there was never any doubt it was only going to be a 2-car train. And the route, we are taking the North Wales coastline, which is the most recent route DLC that I got. Not the most recently made, just the most recent one that I bought. And we are going to be doing the entire length of it. So we are starting at Crewe, and we will finish at Holyhead in Anglesey. We're also going to be making a number of stops along the way. In fact, what I'm going to do, I will stop at every station that is not a request stop. Now it sounds like, yeah, that I'm only going to be skipping like maybe one or two. In fact, there are quite a lot of request stops on this route. With one exception, there is one request stop that I will stop at. If you are at all familiar with the route here, I'm sure you can guess which station that will be. As far as with the conditions, so it's autumn time, cloudy, and we will be going relatively early at 9:30 AM, but of course it means it will still be daylight, so we're fine there. So yes, with all the gradients and that along this line, this could be a challenging one, even though it is only a 2-car train. So here we go. Also add that this will be the longest in terms of distance that I have done. So yeah, yesterday's video of 102 miles being the longest, it didn't have that crown for very long. This one is I think it's 100, it's like 105 or 106. So yeah, there's a fair distance to cover. So here we are. So it is, okay, 105.6. so yeah. And yep, the entire train, just 2 cars. This particular route, Crewe to Holyhead, there's only ever 2 per day that actually does that entire length of the route. And we are one of them by the looks of it. So let's sort out the lights. I think it is number 2 I want. Hang on, no, it is daylight, so yeah, I think that's the one we want, number 4. There's not a great deal else that needs sorting out. I will also, there's a problem with the 158. You can clearly see here, we're clipping through the edge of the train here, so I tend to zoom in one so that we don't have to put up with that for quite so much. So I need to find the I think actually it's one of these over here, the internal cabin lights. Here we are. Right, instrument lights, that's it. We don't need the actual cabin light itself because it's yeah, it's still daylight, so we'll let passengers on board. Our Crewe station, certainly throughout my lifetime, was a real sort of basically it was a real mecca for train spotters. I don't know if it still is. I know the station, unfortunately, is in nothing like the sort of condition that it was in during the 80s. But I don't know if it's still like, you know, the hotbed of train spotter activity that it was. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but yeah, if you were an ardent train spotter, then Crewe was absolutely one of the one place that you wanted to go to. You could probably easily spend, like, you know, an entire weekend just on the yeah, just on the railway platform there. So we are speeding something fierce. Again, well, I say again, only just started moving and I wasn't paying attention. So our next stop is going to be Chester. I don't know how far away it is. On the map it looks like it's a reasonable distance, so I don't think it's going to be like, you know, just a short hop and bosh, we're there. We're into a 50 mph section. Let's crank her up. I think on this route, as well as plenty of opportunities to test how well this train can deal with steep climbs, it will also give us plenty of opportunities to get some really good scenic shots. So unsurprisingly, we were able to get into the 90 mph section without having to ease off the throttle. Acceleration on the 158 is reasonable. It's not fantastic. I can't for the life of me think we're going to be travelling 90 mph. So, all rather smooth, easy going for now. The ETA says that it will take us just shy of 2 hours. I think we will be able to shave off some of that, but considering the number of stops I'm going to be making, I'd be surprised if we did manage to do the entire run in 2 hours. Now, this is actually the first time I will have done this entire route from start to finish, so I don't really know what to expect in terms of where the steep gradients are and how steep they are and everything else. I'm pretty much going to be encountering them all for the first time. So it certainly seems as though my guess was right that, yeah, from Crewe to Chester is, yeah, there's a bit of distance between the two. It's probably the longest gap between two stations of the entire route. So we reached 81 mph, which quite pleasantly surprised actually we were able to get up to that speed. Looks like perhaps 85 might be the limit of this thing. So hit 84. There's no sign of even any signals. I don't mind that actually. I don't mind it when routes are not very heavily signalled. It's one of the reasons why I quite like the Manchester to Liverpool route. Yeah, very flat ground, so it is scenic, but I would rather have, you know, some sort of hilly or even mountainous areas. So we have actually reached 96 mph, so we are going quite a bit faster than I thought. So maybe this thing, yeah, actually the route or the way it's going through, you know, still accelerating, although I mean it's far from lightning fast acceleration, but it does give the impression this thing might actually be able to hit 90. Certainly has a much more impressive horn than the Class 175 that also does this route. Right, so we have speed limit reduction coming up to 65. I've no idea how good the brakes are on this thing, but I certainly don't think we need to start braking while we are still 1¼ miles away. So we'll lose some of the speed from coasting until we are about somewhere between 2/3 and ½ mile away, and then we'll apply the brakes. So there's our warning. There's the Morpus board telling us about the speed restrictions. So in fact it might be an idea to start braking. I don't think we needed to go into full service, but yeah, maybe into step 2. There we go. So we're in the 65 mph section. Doesn't last very long before we can go back up to 75. There we go. And yeah, because the train is so short, Yeah, because the train is so short. Once we pass the trackside sign, we can not sort of, you know, accelerate straight away, but pretty much. So another increase to 90 mph in half a mile. I'm pretty sure we won't need to reduce throttle. We certainly won't need to brake. Yeah, we'll be fine there. Yeah, so into the 90 mph section now, and now we can go 90. Also on a slight descent, and I do mean slight, 1 in 473. So there is a class 175 just past us. Now that particular one had the livery of the South Wales route, which I've also got. And the 175, when I'm playing the South Wales route, seems to drive really well. The same most certainly cannot be said of the 175 when you're on the North Wales route. No idea why. So the train that we are in, as your controls are there, very cramped sort of front cab. The 158 does have a reputation for being a bit boring, and yeah, I must admit I'm one of those that does think that. It's certainly not a bad train to drive, but you know, if you're playing it in the game, but yeah, it doesn't do a hell of a lot for me. But it was requested, so here we are. So we are still descending, even if 1 in 709, you can barely call it descending, but nevertheless we are. In fact, now it has flattened out completely. So we might get the chance to see if this thing can make 90 mph. So yeah, there is quite the distance from Crewe to Chester. We have done 15 miles, so only another 90.5 miles to go to Holyhead. But yeah, 15 miles, and there is no sign of Chester as yet. Now, I think this particular DLC came out reasonably late in Train Simulator Classics lifespan. I think it is one of the more demanding ones. So I know there are a couple of people who comment on my videos fairly regularly. Mick DC, who's had a couple of requests in this series. Gans Teeth is another. They both have this game, but this is one scenario, one route DLC that is a bit demanding. I'm not sure it would be a good one for either of them to get. So yeah, if you're using a laptop or something, and either your CPU or your display adapter is not fantastic, you know, it's good enough but not, you know, absolutely blinding. Unfortunately, this might be a DLC that, yeah, you may have to put off getting for a bit. So speed reduction to 65 in just under a mile. Well, we did hit 90, so we are certainly going faster than I thought we could in this thing. Considering how far away the speed reduction is, I think step 1 braking will be plenty enough. Indeed it is. So we can coast for a bit, especially as Chester is now just 1.5 miles away, and we do have a 30 mph speed reduction coming up before we reach Chester. Almost looks like it's in 2 parts on that display. I didn't really want to go into step 2. It's really not far at all once we leave Chester station before we cross the border into Wales. Yeah, we've been braking way too early. Okay, so only just, but we are fine. In fact, let's brake a little bit more just to make doubly sure. So it looks like, yes, Chester platform 3A and 3B. Which one do we stop at? We'll stop at 3B. In fact, yeah, it is all one platform, so there we go. Probably not an idea to stop this far along the platform, especially as we practically Yeah, we almost missed it, but there we go. Right, so here we are at Chester, right on the border with Wales, or as near as, damn it. Okay, doors shut. Let's get ourselves underway. So I think the next station is Sutton, which is definitely within Wales. And that is, yeah, that's not a request stop. In fact, the request stops, well, I know where they start, so we are still pretty much an all stops service for now. So we'll get it up to 30 and then, well, we haven't got long before we have the 50 mph section coming up. Okay, we're green, that's fine. Alright, so we are in the 50 mph section, there we go. The 60 mph section is really not far away at all with our speeding again. Now over this viaduct here, I am fairly sure this is where we cross over into Wales. That could even be Chepstow racecourse there, so yeah, we are in Wales now. So let's get our speed up to 60. And we will pass the 75 mph section long before we hit 60, so yeah, carry straight on to 75. I will admit that the performance of the old 158, even though it's not a favourite loco of mine, it never ceases to impress me. You know, small little DMU, you don't expect a lot from it, but it can certainly deliver. completely flat ground. Let's get some of our speed back up, get us nearer to 75 again. I wasn't going to put it on all the way up to knot 7, but what the hell. Okay, so knots 3, yeah, speed will start coming down again. You want to just keep hanging around sort of like knots 3 and 4. So Shotton is now coming up on the route planner. So lose some of our speed. And we're still the best part of a mile away from it, so you know it's not essential that we start braking for the station just yet. That's still half a mile away. I think that bridge there, which is the upper section of the station on the other line, I think that marks the boundary of the platform. No, not quite. Yeah, I think this is the bridge that I thought it was. So Shotton has quite a short platform, but it's nothing compared to some of the stations that are yet to come. So yeah, this is part of Shotton Station. I say that bridge there, that line, that's the other part of Shotton Station. That line will take you to, that's taking you down south towards, like, you know, Neath, eventually Cardiff. So we've got a nice 75 mph section we're already on. That will soon go up to 90. I am not sure what the next station is. 90 mph section coming up in half a mile. I'm pretty sure we will not need to ease off on the throttle at all before we get there. No, nowhere near having to do that. There we are, into the 90 section. It's very slightly uphill, 146, but it's not going to have any impact on the acceleration of this thing. Being a DMU, it has pretty good torque figures, so even though its top speed isn't great, any sort of like hills and that shouldn't present a big problem to it. So, we have a speed reduction coming up to 75 mph. We're only just doing over that now. And the next stop is Flint. I actually lived in Flint for about 6 months. Unfortunately for me, that was Flint, Michigan in the USA. The second biggest shithole I have ever lived in, or ever seen. On my way there, I had to pass through Detroit. That is the biggest shithole I've ever seen. I mean, we have no shortage of shitholes in Britain. You know, we've got Sunderland, Doncaster, Walsall, Swindon. The one I always mention, Romford. And they still have their fair share of shitholes north of the border. You know, you got Dundee, you got Kilmarnock. But I would rather spend a year in any of those places than a week in either Flint, Michigan, or Detroit. So I've really hit the brakes hard there. Again, far too hard, far too early. I'm sure Flint in Wales is perfectly fine, but yeah, being better than the Flint in America really is setting a very, very low bar indeed. There we are at Flint Station. Considering how repulsive I find the sight of feet, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that statue that's there, or sculpture or whatever it is. Okay, doors are shut. Yep. Off to the next stop. Again, I'm not 100% sure what that next stop is. But again, we can go just straight to 75 mph, and yeah, there's another increase to 90 mph about half a mile ahead. I think it's highly unlikely we'll have reached 75 mph before we hit that, so there's no need to worry about taking off the throttle or using brakes. So Holyhead is now less than 72 miles away, so it's now about the average sort of distance for one of these videos. So into the 90 mph section, we were barely doing 50 as we entered it, so yeah, nothing to worry about there. We are on a very slight descent, 1 in 131. So you think about it, 1 in 131 isn't that slight for locos, but it was also very short, so we flattened out again. So we have a 75 mph speed reduction coming up. I thought that would mean that there is another station due, but it certainly doesn't look like it. So I can only assume that is due to either a particularly steep gradient or a fairly sharp curve. We'll find out soon enough. At the moment we don't need to lose any speed anyway, we're only doing 74. But now, let's take it down to 4. We will continue to increase speed, but at a much slower rate. We'll drop it down to 3 now, so we lose again at a very slow rate. And we'll just do what we did before and keep it sort of between 3 and 4. So we're in the 75 mph section. I cannot see anything here that tells me this needs to be 75. It was absolutely gun barrel straight, and while there was an incline, it was a 1 in 803. So I am utterly mystified as to why that was a why there was a speed reduction there. Answers on a postcard. So we've got another 75 mph reduction coming up in just over a mile. Again, no station after it, so I don't know what it's for. And after that last one, I can't even begin to figure out why. So we won't completely coast, but we will take speed down I reckon, yeah, we'll definitely be within the 75 by the time we get there. I mean, we're still half a mile away. And we're now doing 75, so yeah, no worries there. So we are in the 75 mph section. So I'm pretty sure now we can see, yeah, we are on the coast. It might mean that the next stop is Llandudno Junction. Right, hang on, I think we got Abergele before we get to Llandudno Junction. So yeah, mate, I don't think it is that after all. Right, lost quite a bit of speed there. It's then we get an increase to 85. In fact, I think we can take it up to notch 5. Once we pass that 85 section, we can go straight up to notch 7. Yeah, and now we're in. We have started going very slightly uphill, 1 in 802. It's not even going to affect our acceleration rate, let alone anything else. Right, so 75 mph limit coming up, and it's Prestatyn station that we are going to be approaching. So we can coast for a bit. We'll start to reduce our speed, about now, a mile away. We're only going to step 1 to start with. We are definitely going to need to brake a bit harder though. So up to step 2. Yeah, that's clearly going to be enough. We won't need to go any harder than that. In fact, we can now coast a little bit. In fact, not just coast, we'll literally put some power in. I think we stopped a little early, but it's not the end of the world. Right, so here is Prestatyn station. Everyone's off. Yeah. Let's get underway. But basically, as soon as we leave this station, we're on to the 90 mph limit again. So we can just go straight into knot 7, and we'll see if I think we did get to 90 mph earlier. I'm fairly sure we did. So it looks like we're not staying at 90, or not staying in a 90 mph section anyway for too long. We have a reduction to 75 again, coming up in about 1.25 miles. I suspect we won't have even reached 75 by the time we get to that. We won't be 1,000,000 miles from it, but yeah, I'd be pleasantly surprised anyway if we were at 75. And then that is a relatively short section, only a mile before we then go down to 40. And that's because the next station, which is Crewe. See, these Welsh place names, easy. Prestatyn and Crewe. What's wrong with that? See, no, I don't. Well, I suppose I do need to ease off. The 40 mph section is coming up in just over a mile. We have a yellow signal here. Yeah, it's just warning us of the speed reduction. But I mean, I forget the type of signal, but I think that one we passed is one of those signals where it doesn't show a red aspect for some reason. It only shows green or yellow. I don't know why they have such signals in operation. You know, having a signal that can't show red, to me, seems a bit ridiculous. It seems like pointless at best and potentially somewhat on the dangerous side at worst. So I still can't see the signal. It's another yellow, but it's only a single yellow. It doesn't really matter actually, because we're going to be stopping in the in the station anyway. So now, unless it's showing us that because it's about to divert us onto another line. No. So that 40 is purely... Oh, hang on. It may be diverting us here. Yeah. Does this mean it's putting us on a loop to... No. No, we're still going to be going through it, so we're still going to be able to stop. Yeah, I think I really overdid it there, putting it straight in the full service. Okay, so here we are at Crewe. I always thought Crewe was a seaside town, but it looks like we're not exactly right up against the coastline here. Okay, onwards and upwards. I'm not going to go mad on the acceleration here because we're still in a 40 mph section, but we do have an increase to 85 mph coming up in just over 1/4 mile. Obviously, once we're in that section, we can then properly open the taps and take it up to notch 7. So we are back on the main line, and we can now throttle up. Not sure what river that is. I dare say someone can let us know. So another speed reduction in 1.5 miles to 75. Again, I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference. We might just about be at 75 when we hit it. Right, so next station is coming up, and that one is Abergele and Pensan. So we've very nearly reached 75 before the marker, but yeah, we've now got to slow somewhat for this upcoming station. Slowing down way too quickly. They're only just under 1 mile from it. Yeah, definitely started the braking way too early here. Yeah, I was just wondering then. I thought I could see a red signal. It was actually the yeah, the semaphore signal I could see. Okay, here we are then at Abergele and Pensan station. Back to being a lot closer to the coast here. Quite a nice location, that one. Anyway, back underway. We will have barely moved before we enter the 85 mph section. You can also see from here it's now single track. Oh, no. We are joining another line again. It does become single track, but clearly not this early. Yeah, we are starting to get some extremely impressive sights around here. The scenery is, yeah, quite something. So 75 mph decrease coming up, as is what looks like quite a steep climb. Does also look like this climb, yeah, 1 in 100. It's relatively short. But it is affecting our speed. Yeah, we are slowing. So we'll certainly be okay within the bulk of the 75 mph section. Although while we are coming down, including going through the Penmain Ross tunnel, we may need to be doing some controlled braking there. Okay, so we're at the summit. Let's ease off on the throttle. Actually, no, let's not, because we are losing speed as we ease off. So next station coming up 1.5 miles away is Colwyn Bay. We are still gaining speed as we come down, but we're not going to need to do a lot of control braking. I think we'll do. Yeah, it's eased off quite a bit, but we do now need to start braking to get our speed down for this station. Again, was braking too early. Didn't mean to go into step 2 there. Okay, so we can coast in and apply the brakes as we reach the platform. Yeah, so we are at Crewe Bay. It appears not quite as impressive as the one here in Southend. Right, off we go again. So again, we're straight into a 75 mph section, so yeah, we'll slam it straight up to knot 7. And we do have a speed increase up to 90 again coming up pretty soon. There we are at 3/4 of a mile. And again, I doubt we'll have reached that sort of speed by the time we get to that marker, so we don't need to ease off the throttle at all. So well over halfway to the destination now. We're about 43.5 miles from Holyhead. Now ETA has us arriving in under an hour. Another reduction back down to 75 in about 1.5 miles. There's no station after it, so I'm not sure what that is for. And another reduction less than 1/2 mile after that down to 50. I certainly don't know what that is for. Yeah, that's why. So the next station is Llandudno Junction, and that is the last station that is a compulsory stop, with 2 exceptions. The only 2 after that are Bangor and Holyhead itself. So we're going to be going through a fair few stations from now on. Well, I'm sure it'll come as no surprise, I'm ignoring the 75 mph reduction here and focusing on the 50. There we are on a slight uphill section, 1 in 306. So I'm trying not to lose too much speed, but then actually, yeah, we've got the station coming up, so to hell with that. There we are, so this is Holyhead Junction. So from here on in we now have a lot of request stops, which, like I say, there's only one of those that we will be stopping at. I'm sure you've long since figured out which one that will be. So we're in at a 50 mph section, which is about to slow to a 45, so we'll treat this as 45 from the offset. So next station is Crewe. Crewe station is actually sort of partially within the walls of Crewe Castle. You can see Crewe Castle up ahead quite clearly. So I'm not going to go hurtling through Crewe station, because this is definitely a place that I think we want to get some good exterior views. So here we are around the outer walls, and then yeah, we get this section coming up which goes across the rail, and there is the station within the walls of Crewe Castle. That is quite impressive. So let's get ourselves back to 45. It's not going to be long at all. In fact, we are now in the 75 mph section. So we do have a bit of speed reduction coming up at the start of the Penmain Back Tunnel. So let's coast through a bit. We'll drop the speed down once we are, or if we need to apply brakes, which I suspect we will. Obviously it's far too early to do it right now. You can see a tunnel there, but that's actually a road tunnel. Yeah, our one is here. And as soon as we get the other side of the tunnel, the speed limit increases again to 75. There we go. Next station is coming up. Again, it's another request one, so we won't be stopping there. That's at Penmain Moor. I would have thought that the speed restrictions around these request stations would have been a lot tighter. I mean, there's none at all at this station. But, I mean, if you're, you know, driving a train and you're doing what I'm doing, going through there at as close to 75 mph as you can, you've got no chance of stopping at the station if there's a request there. So that's through Penmain Moor. Quite a scenic locale, but yeah, we're not stopping there. There's no shortage of tunnels on this route, so yeah, we're approaching Pennyclip Avalanche Tunnel. I think we can safely guess how it got its name. And we have the next station coming up. It does have a speed reduction, but only to 75. So again, you wouldn't be able to stop there in time, really. So it's Llanfairfechan. There's another request stop, so yeah, we will not be stopping there. I think the next station after that one is Bangor, and so we will be stopping there. Just realised, yeah, ease off the speed of it. There we go. So yeah, again, if you had a request for this one, good luck. So into 90 mph section here. The speed reduction coming up in just over a mile, back down to 75. It's not like we are going to have too much difficulty keeping to that speed. We'll just coast up to it. Yeah, no doubt there is some great scenery on this route. So again, we're back to just going between notches 3 and 4. So we're now going up at 1 in 181. Yeah, 1 in 181 gradient. It's now just leveled out quite a bit now, so our speed is going up. Yeah, back more. Yeah, at its normal sort of rate. I don't think it's really worth it pointing out that we're on a 1 in 1,527. I mean, is that really going to make any difference? Another tunnel up ahead. Sando guy. we have quite a hefty speed decrease coming up to 15 as we approach Bangor station. Right, we definitely need to start braking here. I think I may have left it a little bit late, so no, okay, I hadn't. As always, completely underestimating how good the brakes are. We do need to be doing 15 pretty much as soon as we are at the end of the tunnel. Here we go. Way too early with the braking there, but I think, yeah, it's showing yellow. That does mean we can still enter Bangor station, no problem. So here we are at the town where my dad was born. So yeah, here we are at Bangor station. Fortunately, we can't see the Menai Bridge from here. We're not going to be taking the Menai Bridge, obviously, because the Menai Bridge is just a road bridge. So we will be taking the Britannia Bridge as we go over the Menai Straits and into Anglesey. And I'm sure you've all figured out by now the request stop that we will be stopping at on Anglesey, and it is the next stop. So yep, we'll be stopping at Llanfairpwll, which is the name of the town, but I cannot even begin to pronounce the name of the railway station. So we're into a 50 mph section now. We go through Belmont Tunnel. So approaching a 45 mph section, so we'll just treat it as 45 from here on in. The gradient we're on, which is not particularly steep, but it is providing us with a bit of a headache getting up here this hill. We're on a 1 in 436. Yeah, I'm having to alternate between notches 5 and 6 to get around here and to keep it on or around the 45 mph limit. And that's about to come down to 40, so we'll cruise it for a bit. We'll cruise it, coast it. I keep saying cruise. Still half a mile away. Why am I braking for a speed limit that's half a mile away? It's still a quarter of a mile away, but oh well. I've done it now, so. So here we are now at the 40 mph section, and from here on in it is certainly a single track. Here we are on the Britannia Bridge. Unfortunately, yeah, if we do an external shot, can't see a huge amount. But yeah, as you can clearly see, the road goes right the way above. Well, yeah, it's directly above the rail, but the road turns off to the right and we turn off to the left, and we are now less than a mile away from Hoch. Now you can't do this route and not stop at that station. While this station may have the longest name in the English language, or certainly within Britain, it has one of the shortest platforms there is, and this 2-car train barely fits, so I'm going to have to take it fairly easy if I plan on stopping there. Right, let's start braking now. Well, as well as being home to this particular station, Anglesey is also home to a ridiculous number of level crossings. So yeah, expect to see a lot of those. Here we are, full service braking. The front has slightly overshot it. That's yeah, that's how short the platform is. But there you go, that's the name of the place. Good luck. And yeah, we even have it on the main building there as well. Obviously, it was a name that was made up effectively by the Victorians when they were building this line, to give this place sort of a tourist site, a tourist attraction. There's no getting away from it. It worked. There are people who come from all parts of the world just to come and see this railway station. So yeah, it definitely, as tourist tourist traps, I suppose, go, it was a successful one. I mean, the town, or actually, I'm not even sure if it's a town. It may just be a village, but village or town of Llanfair Park, sort of so readily adopted it that a lot of the time they will insist that they are from the town of, full name there. Anyway, onwards and upwards. I think the next stop is Bedorgan, but we're not going to be stopping there, so yeah, the next station is Bedorgan. The station is actually miles away from Bedorgan town, village, whatever itself. That's about all I know about the place. I'm very surprised that we're actually back to two-way rails again. I was sure that this whole the whole part of Anglesey was single rail. I'm not sorry I'm wrong though. So speed limit decrease coming up in 1.5 miles to 60. It's taken us a fair bit to get up to 65, but yeah, I don't think it's going to take. Actually, yeah, that's on a downhill section, so we may need to brake a bit. Yeah, just coasting along, we're not losing our speed anywhere near fast enough. So we will need the brake. We won't need to be much. There we go, find out. This 60 mph section isn't actually that long. Getting the one, there we go. One didn't make any difference. So we're into the 60 mph section. I think this long curve explains why this speed restriction is here. So yeah, we'll head back up to 75 mph in just a quarter of a mile. Looks like we've got quite a downhill section coming up here. There we go, we're into the 75 section. Let's give it a full throttle treatment. Alright, so we are still gaining speed. I mean, we are on a 1 in 102 downhill, so it's not surprising. We are going to need some controlled braking there. So it's now 1 in 97, so yeah, it's a lot steeper than I thought. Now we are slowing down. Yeah, we have reached the end of the downward section, so this part is pretty flat, and then we have an uphill section coming up, and that section does look fairly steep. I guess we're about to find out how steep. Yeah, we're losing speed, even though I'm in knot 6, so it's a 1 in 113. So here comes the next station. It is Bedorgan, but yeah, we will not be stopping there. That is a request stop. So we're losing speed even at full throttle. We're on a 1 in 98. So perhaps it's unsurprising we are losing speed, but I thought that being in knot 7, full throttle, we would be okay, but no, clearly not. Well, we'll be going through Bedorgan station at full throttle, but certainly not full speed, which is a shame. I do like going through stations at full speed. I know some of you have already long since figured that one out. Okay, well, we are picking up speed now. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we were around 71 mph going through Bedorgan. I think the next stop is to Crewe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think it's that far away from Bedorgan station, so I also think we can now go back to our old routine of keeping it between notches 3 and 4. Or not, because we are now uphill on a 1 in 99. So yeah, next station is to Crewe. That again, we will not be stopping there. Let's get some exterior shots. Too busy doing that to watch the speed, so yep, speeding quite a bit. And then I braked rather too hard, but at least it means we can go through to Crewe station at full pelt. It's another one with a really tiny platform. Yeah. So next stop is Niger, which is yeah, just over a mile and a quarter away. If you're coming to Anglesey, Niger is definitely the place you want to go to. I would say it is the most scenic part of Anglesey. Okay, throttle up. See if we can get through Niger at full speed. Fairly confident that we can. In fact, I may have to yeah, ease off the throttle while coming through here. There we go. So that's Niger station. Now I think we've got a bit of a gap before the next station, which I think is Valley. And Valley is the penultimate station. I mean, we're only 7 miles from Holyhead now. There we are. So Valley is it's just over a mile and a half away. Another very small platform. another request stop, so we will not be stopping there, but it is the penultimate station, so yeah, we will it will not be long before we are actually stopping, but it's not here. So here we are at Valley Station. I mean, look at that. It really is a blink and you miss it stop. Admittedly, it was only 2 hours ago that I told him I was doing this, but I did tell him. Well, I suppose if he was going to walk into one, it would have to be one where I'm in Wales. So I don't really want to rush the ending, but I don't know if you can see it on the webcam. We are fast approaching the point where the glare of the sun behind me is going to be reflecting on the screen. So I'm hoping to get this done before that happens. I'm pretty sure we will, because we've got the 15 mph section fast coming up, mile and a half away. And that is going to be, yeah, you can see the entrance to Holyhead station there. So it turns out I'll have timed this really well. Braking way too fucking early. That 15 mile an hour marker was still a mile away and I was already braking for it. I get ready with my celebratory ICOS. Right, now we do need to start braking. I can now barely see the display on the HUD section of the well, yeah, the root section of the HUD rather, because yeah, the glare from the sun is obscuring it. So it looks like, yeah, we're still about a quarter of a mile away from the area where we actually need to be doing 15. So yeah, let's get there a bit quicker. We don't need to be doing 15 yet. Right. think that is, yeah, because it's showing a yellow signal, but you know, that's to be expected. Single yellow is absolutely fine because we've only got one more signal to go. Well, there's a pretty steep downhill section there, and I can't. Oh, it's 1 in 75. No wonder I'm gaining speed there. Yeah, we're okay now. We're off that downhill section. And here we are. Turn the lights off. Here we are at Holyhead. Effectively the capital of Anglesey. Certainly by far the major town at Anglesey. And there we go. So that was, how close to the buffers were we? I think we were nowhere near them. I can't see it. Oh well, can't see. But yeah, that was. Let's try it this way. Yeah, plenty of space. That was Crewe to Holyhead. It's a fantastic route. And it's got a bit of everything. It's got great scenery. It's got it's quite a relaxing drive. It's not particularly challenging in these sort of conditions. Now, if you were to make it either during winter or during, like, you know, heavy rain or both, then you're going to have much more of a challenge. And also, if you're in like the class 175 as opposed to the 158 that I'm in here, again, it'll be more of a challenge. So yeah, if you want a challenging one, then there you go, you got your parameters for that. But if you want like a fairly simple one, you know, you've seen how simple this is with these parameters on this loco. And say, fantastic scenery. It's great. If you want additional challenge, you can try pronouncing the names of the stations that you're approaching. So good luck with the first one once you reach Anglesey. So yeah, that's a great one. That see how we did. I think I've got a couple of speeding, 3 speeding, yeah, errors. But there we are. Yeah, great one that. I did enjoy that one. So yeah, if you have a request to make, then click on the link below and bung it in the comments. And who knows? Well, actually, it will get done, providing I have either the loco or the route that you are choosing. So there we are. See you in the next one.